Any React Broward people here?
Todd was lifting his hand for every one of those. So.
Well,
Yeah, Todd's part of
BocaJS initially. I was a old school BocaJS person.
Before me.
Very cool. So, yeah, so we, ever since going full remote in the beginning of March last year, due to the current world affairs, we noticed there was a lot of overlap. There was a lot of effort going into separate locations and separate efforts in being isolated based on location. And since we're all, virtual nowadays, it made sense that we are now back into one group. So we're here to officially announce that we are FloridaJS. So Beach JavaScript, BocaJS, and React Broward are all now one group.
You mean React Fort Lauderdale?
Yes.
Fort Lauderdale. Okay. That one.
It was never called Broward.
That's before it was changed its name to Fort Lauderdale and all that. So. Got it.
I'm sorry. So if it's not obvious, Jeannie was the organizer of that. I am the organizer of Palm Beach JavaScript, and Damien is the organizer of BocaJS. So we are now all co-organizers. So you're going to start seeing a lot more content in one meetup. The first Tuesday and the last Tuesday are still going to be staples in what we do. But we've got a couple of pretty cool things coming up, and we might sprinkle some new events throughout the month in between the two that we currently have already scheduled. Cool?
Very cool.
All right, that's my spiel. I just wanted to make sure everybody was on the Palm Beach Tech Slack channel. If you want to give back to the community, post a question in there, or if someone's post a question in the dev channel, feel free to answer. That's a great way to interact and find people in the local community, and it's a great way to give back. So I highly recommend signing up, checking out the developers channel, the events channel, if you want to know other things that are going on besides the JavaScript meetup. And if you're looking for a job, the Gigs Hiring is there.
And different for classes, look at what Todd just posted there. Also, I like that you posted your LinkedIn. If anybody's looking for jobs or wants to share the LinkedIn, feel free to do so in the chat. That's always good for that. Just be aware that the chat is, and I literally was about to say, the chat isn't shown on video. The chat is actually shown on video. And I'll talk about that a little bit later, but not anymore. I just moved it out of the way. And you'll see what I'm talking about in just a minute. So does anybody want to say, is anybody that's new to the group that wants to just say hi, and so you're welcome to it in the chat. A lot of people are talking in the chat, and I really appreciate that. Thank you for everybody for saying hi. In Miami, I see you guys. Thanks for presenting. Wait until you see me present. Miami office, new meetup, everybody, and the Slack channel. The Palm Beach Tech Slack channel is not directly associated with us. They're sponsoring our event, but it is where me and Jeremy and Jeannie all hang out, as far as everybody else as well. And so you can definitely get a hold of us there, ask us different questions, and answer different questions from different people. All right. Do we want to say anything else? Do you want to say, I always don't like to just jump into the presentations, yeah, but I will if I want to. But you want to ask any questions?
Typically, the first of the year, I like to throw out the question of, what do you guys want to hear? What talks do you want to talk about? Is anybody interested in talking? This group is very much by the people, for the people. Us three organizers are going to try to get some big names to come out and talk and whatnot, but this is very much a meetup for everybody. So if you're currently learning something, I'd recommend coming out and giving a talk about it. Not only will that benefit other people in the sense of when explaining what you're going through might help someone else if they're learning, but it also helps solidify the knowledge in your brain, because you have to figure out how to then explain what it is in there. And then having that conversation, if someone brings up the topic in a slightly different way, you now have a better understanding of it. So there's a ton of benefits for giving a presentation. So I wanted to open it up a little bit. Is anybody interested in giving a talk? And or what do you guys want to hear and see the next upcoming year?
I'll just go ahead and introduce myself. I'm actually new to this meetup, and hey. My name's Brad Kensel. I'm new to software engineering. I'm currently in Thankful's boot camp. for software engineering immersion. I'm about 3.5 weeks in. Right now, I'm actually working on one of the larger projects for the boot camp, writing algorithms. But yeah, I just saw this on Meetup. I actually had an assignment to go to a meetup and introduce myself and, kind of, explore online networking, I guess. So I'm excited to be here, and I was excited to find a group that is in my backyard because I live in Venice, Florida.
That's what I was just gonna ask.
That actually has a decent amount of attendees. So I'm super excited to get to meet all of you and get to know you.
Very cool. Welcome. Yeah, that's a great thing to do, is to connect. And again, signing up for the South Florida Tech is a great way to, get help if you need it too. I guarantee you there's an expert that can help you solve your problem if you're ever stuck on anything. Throw it out there. Someone's more than happy to help out. I guarantee it.
Awesome.
I wanted to give a quick shout out to two people. One is Tracy Levine, who I don't think I've ever met in person. So I'm glad to be on a Zoom with you. A lot of you guys I know, but I also wanted to give a shout out to Ernie, who I don't think I've ever met either. So Ernie, it's nice to meet you. Ernie is one of the lead instructors at one of the local boot camps here as well. So he and I are kindred spirits, and I'm sure Damien and Jeremy, you guys know you can always call on me for any talks whenever you have a lull or want to cover something.
Yeah, we are indeed kindred experience. It's nice to actually finally meet you proper in person, albeit not in person, right? Hi everyone, I'm Ernie. Yes, as Todd said, I also am the head web dev instructor for one of the code schools down here in Miami, which is where I'm based. I also was the founder of the Front End Miami meetup group, of which we are having our lightning talks on February, I think it's 3rd. I think it's February 3rd. So if you guys want to trek down to Miami, AKA point your Zoom to a different web location and go to yet another meetup, we will be happy to have you guys as well. But thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. Ernie, feel free to reach out to Damien and Jeannie or myself, and we'll help promote that too. That sounds like a good event.
Anybody events, Todd, and anybody else that I like this concept. Can we talk about any
I'll
other
just
events?
jump in. Hi, I'm Tracy. I'm a recent boot camp grad of Ernie's. I was Ernie's student along with Ian, and I am just about to be starting a position with Girls in Tech. Nice. And we are having our first Girls in Tech South Florida / Miami kickoff event on February 10th. So I will share that information out with you guys and hope that you guys can all join.
We would love
Very
to.
cool.
Can you both, the one that tell us about the events, if you don't mind, even now or throughout the day? Perfect. Do exactly that. Go ahead and post the links to any of the events in the chat channel, and then we'll be able to share with everybody else that was interested and wants to go about that. Jeremy, it sounds like you have something to say.
Tracy, congrats on the new gig. That's awesome, because I think we just spoke the other day and you weren't sure yet. So that's
it's a volunteer position right now. So it's just a little bit getting involved and trying to get my hands dirty as much as I can in the tech world.
And speaking of women in tech, from the first BocaJS meetup that I went to tonight, I got to say there's quite a trend, a noticeable trend in terms of attendance in these groups, which is awesome.
It's a great improvement, man. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Jeremy, did you want to post what you just talked about there or something?
So what I just posted in the channel was a opportunity to, you mentioned Girls in Tech. I also run a nonprofit organization called Code Palm Beach, which is a organization dedicated to teaching kids to code. And what we do is we host, again, pre-COVID, in-person sessions where we teach the kids how to code. We use free Codecamp or code.org or any of those other platforms out there. And we've created some guided courses and some typing lessons and other things like that. So one of the things that we offer that I think is a little different is the in-person professional mentorship. So a great way to give back to the community, especially for beginners. I get the idea of, well, I'm not an expert in this, so I don't feel like I can give back. And the answer I typically give to that is they don't know anything. So if you know HTML and CSS, you're good. And all you have to do is be able to read the instructions on the free Codecamp and be able to figure out a different way to explain it. We are trying to figure out a different way of hosting our events because being in person is currently unsafe and not advisable. So we're looking about doing one-on-one sessions, like kind of tutoring, for lack of a better term, in that. So if anybody's interested, we have a volunteer form. Feel free to reach out to me, and we can set something up. I'd appreciate any help we can get.
Sounds great.
So I'll create a poll in the meetup for this talk, and or maybe a Google poll, and let's just put out ideas of things that we want to hear. And if anybody's interested in giving a talk, feel free to reach out to any of the organizers, and we'll set something up. So I think that point has been made, and Damien, I think we're ready for you.
Sounds great. Feel free to share that. Jeremy, you are now the co-host of this event, so you're welcome to go ahead and post the poll here or send it on the chat. Everyone just take a look at the chat. But most of the stuff, okay, and so let me just get right to it and present. Let's see. Oh my, how are you? All right, let's put you guys over here. All right, so Ernie's group. Ernie, do you help with this group with Christina, or you know?
So
I know you're involved in this.
How about this? Friend in Miami is definitely good friends. I'm super good friends with Christina. Hi, Christina, if you see this. Yeah, so we work really closely together. The two groups, absolutely.
Perfect. So surprisingly, Christina, next on the day after our next event, and you'll hear about it, and you'll be like so blown away that you might not be able to be sober enough to see this event. But if you do, I've suggested it's something to do about securing web apps. Security sounds like a great subject and all that. So let's see what today's event. Oh, it's about security. Thank goodness we have Christina doing that. So next, whoa, I'm cheating here. Oh man, you guys saw everything. Don't see. Okay. Rewind. You guys didn't see anything. You're fine.
Oh, Damien.
I know. I was contacted by an organization that some of you guys know, and this organization wanted me to to hire them to add comedy and timing, as I'm doing right now, to my slides. And I said, no, when it comes to timing, sorry. When it comes to timing, oh, I got that. So, that's what it is all about. Today we're going to learn about to nodes. As always, we are now FloridaJS. But as always, you could actually click and type in slides.floridajs.com and see every single slide, if I have access to it, that you're seeing right now on the screen. So with this one, you don't have to do a full screen, but just I want to remind everybody in the top right corner, you can always either make this full screen so that it can be something that you can see if there's a lot of code. In this case, there won't be a lot of code. Well, we'll talk about, oh my, nice. So let's do that. So we have a poll that just came up. Please appreciate that. And please let us know what you guys feel about React.js. It sounds to me like there's going to be other polls coming in soon that I didn't know about, but in this case, the one right now, and I appreciate that. Please let us know.
There's a big gap between the third and fourth option there.
Well,
yeah, just a little bit, and I'm not a freaking expert.
I haven't figured out how to edit it yet.
Yeah. But Gene, as a React expert,
I'm gonna have to just
you were instantly an expert the moment that you knew more than everybody else. So you either know a little bit or you know more than everybody else. So that's what makes you an expert.
I do use it a little bit more than a little bit at work. So
Love it.
expert it is.
I gotta
Perfect.
say, Damien, I thought I was an expert until Michelle came along,
Oh yes.
and she's every day I'm learning something that I didn't know about React.
Absolutely. Absolutely. On that note, I mean, we can just remind everybody, Boca Code is starting their new, what do you call it? What do you call that? Oh my God, cohort. Cohort? Ernie, help me out here. Is that the right word? Is the right word? Okay. Cohorts, January 11th, this Monday, so check it out. I might sneak in there if they let me, because it sounds amazing. And now I was originally a release manager in some of the. Oh, it looks like we finished this poll. I was a release manager, and now I need to learn a little bit of coding. So I'm going to have to go and figure that out. Well, having said that, who am I? I'm Damien Montero. Yes, that's spelled with an A, and we'll talk a little bit about how awful it is for security that you actually put anything but alphabetical or letters, as opposed to alphabetical in English, in the American language. So I've been here 21 years in the biz. I am technically, right now, a tech lead at JM Family. I've been in other positions in other places, and some of the stories you're going to hear right now are to do not with that position, but with other ones. Otherwise, I'd get fired if I told you the stories about JM. I love me some JavaScript. I love me some server stuff. I love IT. I love everything to do with this career, and I love you guys. And that's the. So I'm the co-founder of FloridaJS, but you already know that. Like we talked about earlier, and Jeremy mentioned, thank you very much. FloridaJS is now born. As you can tell, I'm a wonderful UI designer. God damn, is this good looking? I know, I appreciate it. And the only reason I didn't hear you guys say that is because you're on mute, so that's okay. For some reason, Jeannie's not. No, please, stay off mute. This is good, So, Jeannie is was originally the React, like Jeremy already talked. We're now joining teams. We're going to do as much as possible in this group. You don't have to come to all the meetings. The same reason why you don't have to have all the answers. So if you do want all the answers, come to all the meetings. It's that simple. We are we have changed our website. The website looks kind of like BocaJS, but you might have seen that there's a little bit difference. You can also see the prior videos on there at the very bottom of each one of these events. In the future, this design will totally change. I'm mainly a backend person, so as you can see, it's a very, very boring looking website right now, but with the help of these wonderful front-end peoples. And that's your line, Jeremy. Who are you calling people, right? Okay. You people will be able to help us with a new design, so we'll have that pretty soon. But right now, at least, we have the logo.
It looks great, man.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Was that? Wait a minute. There wasn't Antonio. Who was that?
Oh, Jonathan.
Jonathan. That's why. All right. So Jonathan has been one of the speakers. Todd has been one of the speakers. We will have totally Todd in the future. I would love to have Todd in the future. Michelle will be one of the speakers. And then we'll have much more than us here be one of the speakers. Because it makes, we love that you guys are there, and it's better if you guys speak than me speaking every single month. Or Jeremy speaking. No offense, Jeremy. FloridaJS is on YouTube, similar as before, youtube.com/FloridaJS. If you like what I'm doing here, do me a favor, just do a subscribe, costs you nothing, makes me feel wonderful. What we talked about before, Jeremy said it right, we need your presentations. Go ahead and reach out to me or the group at meetup.com/FloridaJS. And instead of me chatting, as you can see right here, and you just sitting there looking funny and looking good, you can go ahead and change that and have you talking. So we joined and we're like, Jeannie is the junior person. She's like, well, the only person I can bring is, well, how about the person who created the Create React app? I think that would be an unbelievable presenter. We're going to have that next month. I'm sorry, the end of this month. Please ignore the fact it says next month. We will have Dan Abramov. Am I pronouncing it right, Gene, right?
Abramov?
Yes.
I have no idea.
I love it. We're going to go with Abramov because we're in control here, so we've decided that's the case.
We're in control.
Do you want to say anything about him?
Exactly.
Or how about how wonderful you are?
I mean, she's swinging for the fences here.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
I
unbelievable.
needed to come at first with something big, solidify my spot in the group. and
So you
whatnot.
guys are like, when can the end of the month be here? Because this is just a security presentation. Boring.
Oh, please.
But I love that we have Dan coming in there, and unbelievable. But
Ernie and I are both thinking, could you push it 1 month back so it coincides better with our classes, our class schedule?
well, why? Are you gonna have? Oh my gosh! But this is 6:30. Todd.
No. It's because we cover React later in the course.
Oh, that's fine. This will be more a Q&A. You can ask questions. You can do the things. You should definitely meet the group. But I like what you're thinking. I like it. Well, you can talk to them about it. All right, I have to put this in there, right? Everybody has this presentation about them and what qualifies me. And what I want to do is give you two facts that it's just fun stories. One was I literally went and I was hired by this particular. I wasn't hired. I was an employee at a particular company. They said build this particular website. This is going to be. The company had internal apps and they had a basic, very boring website, but they wanted to give one to access some of their partners and give their partners access to their data. That's all they told me. And of course, they gave me a great description. I created this wonderful Angular. Sorry, Gene. Sorry, General. Sorry, Todd. It was not React, but it should have been. A great front-end website, and I created it, and I did all the things I know about security. And they said, oh, guess what, Damien? You did a fantastic job. The CEO's great, right, and you passed the hacker test. And I shook my head and said, what? They actually hired a gray hat company. If you know what that means, essentially it's hackers that will try to hack into the website, try to steal information, try to log in as user A and get users B's information, for example, the orders of user B that you're not supposed to get as user A, and it had passed. And I will share some of the things that we did in this to make it pass. So that was a bit of a surprise. I would have maybe tried to harden the website even more, but somehow it had passed all the tests. And I'll tell you what exactly it is that they were doing. The next one was a couple of different times that I, as a release manager, which means the person who chooses to stops and goes forward with people that are about to present, about to push to production. I stopped a couple of times people that were going to expose information, were going to have some issues, and were going to cause the system not to fail, not to crash. We weren't going to give away social security numbers, but customer A was able to see customer B's stuff, or in this case, someone in the internet in the wild was able to see the admin pages that the CEO was only supposed to see. So that was kind of a security issue, maybe. Let's get into it. All right. I am a person that likes to be interrupted, so I am not the person that will give you, we will have question and answers at the very end if you are a proper and formal person, but I have no problems in you stopping, especially if you tell me a good quick story, quick being the key word. We don't want to have this go on for 2 hours, and I do feel that it's okay to do so. So the first chapter, the first conversation we'd like to have, and feel free to open sign. Yes, I like that. So one of the things that I want people to understand is that there's web, there's the node, or in this case, the backend software, what's sitting on the server. And what about mobile? How about server to server? My server is hitting your server to pick up something on the API. What do I have to worry about? It's the same thing. So one of the things I want to remind everybody, and I'll point it out in the next slide, is that when your server is exposed to the internet, whether it is a website with no API backend, whether it is Node or any kind of technology, whether the front end is web, whether the front end is mobile, whether the front end is another company that only knows about you and your IP address is not known to anybody else, it's the same thing. And we'll talk about what exactly that is, but if you guys have any questions about it, let me know. All right. And this is where we talk about exactly why it's the same thing. So it's this sort of a teaser of what's going on here. So let's talk about this. I made a mistake in this slide. Never do this if you're going to do a slide, which is put everything out there, because all I'm doing right now is talking while every one of you is reading. So I'm going to go ahead and pause while you guys finish reading. Oh, good. You finished reading, and all of a sudden you're listening to me. Great. But you guys understand what's going on here. Let's look at it together. Read it together. On the server side, you are under control. You know everything. One of the things in us, a security concern, as a person that's involved, what you should know is that what you are sending to the browser is what you are suggesting that goes there. It is not guaranteed to be there. Ask anybody that has a paywall, that is a little pop-up that comes up whenever you want to read the article that I want you to pay $29.99 a month to see, and there is a slight pop-up. There are plugins that remove that pop-up. So just be aware of the fact that, things like that can happen. Give me 1 second, I apologize. Whoops, my apologies. I was getting rid of a notification on my end. So just be aware of, as a security concern, you send stuff to the browser, but you care about it. The server. When it comes to security, everybody can attack the server, and they can attack them from anywhere in the world. You have to be conscious of that as security experts. What's sitting on the browser is safe in the sense that, A, as we mentioned below, it is only for one user, and B, there are things on the browser that prevent it from doing certain things. But it prevents the browser from doing certain things. It doesn't prevent from anybody else attacking your server. And we'll talk maybe more about that when there's more examples. All right, in the server, everybody uses it, every single person in the world. When it comes to your code on your browser, it's only that one user. So you can make decisions, but just be aware that you cannot make a decision thinking that there's only one person on your server. Although there is one person on your browser, nobody else uses everything that sits on your browser. The moment you have to communicate to that server, everybody in the world can see that, and everybody in the world can try to do different things, try to pull information about it. And we'll see later on when we have a little open discussions, we'll see more of these examples. Hopefully everybody's trying to see what's going on in here.
Question.
Yes.
Browser safe.
Yes.
Is that true for all possible browsers, including
It
what
is. It is in the sense, it's a great question. So it isn't that browsers are safe. What I mean is the browsers have sort of protections from people doing unusual things from the browser.
I write my own browser.
What's it?
I'll write my own browser.
If you write your own browser, you can make a choice of what's going on in there. But when people are not going to start using it, right?
Oh, no.
People are using Chrome, and so therefore, what I mean by that is you sometimes can be less concerned about what's going on the browser. And I'll give you a related thing, and this was from BocaCode's Michelle, which we talked about a little bit earlier. She mentioned something very, very important, which is when it comes to, for example, just basic validation. This is an input where you put your email address. I'm going to check that there's an @ sign, that there's a letter to the left of the @ sign, there's a letter to the right of the @ sign. If you guys can all picture an email address, and then there's a period. That's a basic evaluation of an email address, and those kind of things can sit on the browser, and you can be aware of those things, but don't think that they shouldn't also be checked in the server. I know it's not quite the same thing as thinking about security, but just be aware that if the browser has limits, and we'll talk about those limits in there, that prevent people from doing unusual things from browsers. And you're right. If you create your own browser, you're no longer in a browser. You're in your own program. And that's where the attacks from everywhere come from. Go ahead.
Damien, I think,
Yes.
is what you're trying to get at here that when you build an application, you need to worry about hardening what's on the server, not worry about hardening what's being rendered in the browser, because that still is going to be talking to the server, and the browser is going to protect the user's computer. And if somebody decides to write their own browser, they're the ones who are opening up that security on their own.
Well said, Todd. That's excellent way of saying it. So think about harden. Yes, wonderful. So just what Todd said, harden the server, worry less about the browsers. Sometimes you can make choices where you don't have to check for someone inserting something malicious from the browser, they're probably not going to do it just like Ojar says. They're going to do it on their own browser, on their own application, their own way, and they're going to be hitting your server. So very well said, Todd. Thank you very much. All right, just a point of discussion, not really a security thing. On the browser, on the server, there is one language, and it's any language, whatever you choose on the server. And on the browser, it's only JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. So just be aware of it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to worry about certain things about it. But at the same time, there's one version, if you just look the one below, there's one version of the software. While there is of the server software, oh my goodness, but there is multiple versions of the client software. So not only is the example where we could create our own browser, there is more than that, a likely chance that there's different versions and, more importantly, different devices, a mobile device and sizes. So this is more of not so much security, but you have to be aware of those type of things about it. So this is not a security concern, but there is at least one caveat that you only have one software to worry about when it comes to the server. So definitely harden it, but it's just one software to think about.
One thing to add here, Damien, is not only do you have like the different versions of the browser, the different operating systems, the different sizes, different devices, but also when you push out different versions of your front end, right? So you're on version 3 of your front end, but the user could have a cached version on their in their browser. They could be using version 2, and so they might have an old version of your front end. So that's something you also need to be aware of and protect yourself from in certain cases.
Absolutely. Great comment. When it comes to security, also be aware of that. So there was something in your old browser that wasn't secure, you have to still think about securing it. So if the old browser used to send different ways, since you have that older version still hitting you, thank you, Todd, for that. You definitely have to think about that when it comes to both development with future upgrades, but also with that. There may be 14 different versions out there, especially if you do it from devices and things like that. So thank you for that. So getting back to sort of repeating myself, never trust the client. One of the things to do with security is that you cannot, like Ojo said very well, you can have a client that is its own browser or simply a bit of software that can do anything the client isn't allowed to do. So there are things we're going to talk about later. You guys all know about it. There's something called CORS. We'll talk more about it a little bit later. But it is something that protects us on the client. Well, it doesn't really protect us on the server. So if there's something unusual and someone wants to hit your server in an unusual way that will reply with a bad reply, bad as far as you've defined, that user A is able to see everybody's orders, not just user A's orders, well, the client is not trustworthy. So you can make that request any which way. So you have to be aware of hardening the backend, and that's the most important thing to do with that. There is something, and it's fairly new, and it's not CORS. So at the very bottom, let's just start with that. CORS is some rules that will prevent people that are not sitting on your website from accessing your APIs. Again, just like we said before, it has nothing to do with the actual client. So you can fake a client and have someone hit your website that's not sitting on your website, but you cannot do it from a regular, normal browser that you don't download from Ojar's website, if you download from Google or Microsoft or Apple. So CORS, we can look into it. We can have a whole presentation about CORS. It's just something to be aware of. It is something that prevents us from doing something to clients. It does not stop, and this is the most important thing that I want to point out, it does not stop people from hitting our server the wrong way or without accessing our website. So I'll talk in a couple of the other examples. I might show different websites, and there are certain websites I log in and they pull information, and because they're preventing CORS from doing it, they thought they were not accessible, and I was able to figure out the pattern, and so I can, without logging on, pull this information. And so my browser wouldn't have let me do that. But because of the fact that, and they may have said, because of course, this wonderful technology that says, no. If you hit my website, you can hit my API. So once you're logged in, I'll let you know whether you can hit it or not. But don't trust that for being, something that, of course, thank you. Just to be aware, right? If you protect certain things and they're not able to do things on the server, then just be aware of the fact that that doesn't stop anybody else. So these are all modern headers, and they do different things. They're all for protections, and they are all communicating to Chrome or Safari or Edge or IE still to prevent certain things on the browser. And one more time, similar to Course, that doesn't prevent the user from creating their own browser, in a sense, and attacking your server in a different way. So you say that the X-frames can only be from the same origin, great, but they can still do this work. You try to prevent cross-site scripting, but there is ways to do that. One of the things I wanted to point out here, I'll go ahead and if I click one, I can keep on doing that. Sorry about that. The one in the middle, just above Course, content security policy. Be careful with this. We had a very large insurance company, very, very large. You guys are probably covered by this insurance company. Contact us, the company I used to work for before, and said they have these requirements. And the requirements are listed here. And we were like, no problem, we have everything except for the last one, content policy, security policy. And the content security policy defines that where you allow scripts that run on websites to pull from. We all remember or have been experiencing where we're like, this wonderful library, let's just say jQuery, should be pulled from this CDN, this location that will get the latest version. And this one and another one that I'll talk a little bit later on, the JavaScript integrity, define what you're pulling from this website and where it should be pulled from. So, but the moment that someone changes this or another one, anybody changes the remote website, the remote code that you're using in your library, it now can make your library fail. So we all know that we can make a website and we can rely on an external library that we're comfortable with, that we like jQuery, that's external, as in pulled from another server. And then all of a sudden, that other server goes down and our website goes down. Well, that's not a big deal. I mean, that's a big deal, but that's, life. But if the other website makes a small change, then the content security policy can mean that even though the website still has jQuery, still has valid, maybe they've changed some comment or they've changed the date, and all of a sudden your website stops working as if that other website failed. And so this is something you just have to be aware of. These are ways to communicate to the client. Maybe I'll speak more of this later. I want to dwell too much on this. But it is something that was questioned for, that was asked for by a big, huge client. And of course, the CEO said, we're going to do it. And regardless of my objections, we did. So just be aware of that. Sometimes security can be effectful or be not effective. All right. All the things we talked about before, don't worry about reading what's below. Node has Helmet. If you are caring about Node, and you came here not just for the web and the Node and mobile, security is all the same. If you care about Node, check out the project Helmet. And Helmet will, if you let it, turn on absolutely everything. And just be aware, sometimes this is a problem. So you should test your website with Helmet and without Helmet. Helmet automatically does not prevent people from DDoSing, that is hitting your website too many times, does not prevent your website from being hit incorrectly, does not prevent your website from being hit that one way where client A sees everybody else's orders that you don't want. What it does is it automatically communicates to the client certain requirements and certain things that should be defined. And this is communicated to the client, and the client will now be more vigilant of certain things which will prevent hackers or some unusual code from working, something changing on somebody else's website and affecting you. Just be and it's a security way, but just be conscious that this can affect your website and your website may not work. So one of the things I always tell people is try it with Helmet and then try it without, because everybody has some good testing scripts, right? Or at least that one person that really knows the website well. Just be aware of that. Any questions about Helmet? I like it.
Damien, is that
Yes.
the same helmet that is used that we use in React for? I'm assuming it is.
I don't know if I didn't know Helmet
In
worked with
React to like put metadata. I'm assuming it is.
But it wouldn't. I mean, to me, it wouldn't make sense. I mean, it's a security thing. So I don't know how you would go and say on the client, set up all these things that are normally communicated by the server, right? So some of these are, and sort of the referrer policy, the one at the bottom, second to the bottom, would be one that it now checks the referrer for certain information. So it's something that should be only server side. An XSS cross-site scripting, that's what the XSS stands for, filter might make sense to just insert it last minute in the React. By last minute, I mean, at the time of the website's being rendered. So I don't know if it's the same thing. It's a great question. We should Google it afterwards to find out.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking of React Helmet. There's Helmet and there's React Helmet. I was thinking of React Helmet.
Okay. Thank you. I'll go bring it up. Gives up security. On the left-hand side, you see, and there's a billion of them out there, that people will upload their API keys. So just be conscious, as a security talk, when you're uploading things from GitHub, it's okay. As a release manager, I'm going to pull my hair out, and as you can see, I've done it many, many times. I don't have any left. When I see API keys in your code, when you checked it in, even if it's a private repo that nobody else can see but us. But just be conscious of API keys being sitting on the server, on your Git, and then you publishing something to GitHub. Well, that's a problem. So just be conscious of that. There's a billion versions of that. Ojar's explained about S3 buckets of it earlier when the discussion we had. There are a billion people that are like building projects out there where they are secure, but unfortunately they published their API keys, as you can see on the left-hand side. So just be conscious of that. Once you publish your API key, just like I told you not to, just be conscious also that also on GitHub and Bitbucket and any other places, you can see history. On the right-hand side is a picture of this wonderful service called Zipcall. Zipcall is tremendous. It was shown in syntax.fm, that if you're not following, is a podcast by the great Wes Boss. And it is wonderful. And it went live and somebody acquired the company. So this teenager created a wonderful Zoom-like conference call, open source app, and a company acquired it. I don't know who. Wonderful. And as you can see on the left-hand side, he went ahead, checked in, and says source code has been removed because of the results of an acquisition. In other words, someone at the company asked him to remove the source code. But all he did to remove the source code was not git push force. But what he did was simply check in a new version that had just the images and the README file that you see on the left-hand side. If you simply click on history and see his last check-in, what's on the right-hand side of the right-hand image is all the code. So all the code, because when I saw this, I was like, cool, let me download it. And he had already acquired it. So I simply went to his history and downloaded all the code. So once you upload the API key, there is things you have to be aware of, because just re-uploading with a version where it hides the API key will not be enough. You have now published the API key or some unusual information. So does everybody see the examples, the pictures that I said here? Do you have any questions about that? All right. I like that. All right. So that's about it. That is my presentation. We were going to do a lot of things about FloridaJS, and there is some talk still about it. There is a lot that I didn't cover There's a lot we can discuss about it, and now is the time to do so. So if you wish, I'm gonna before we do have a raffle at the end of it, so just don't leave right now. There's a raffle with a license from JetBrains that we'll be giving out as we do every single month. But here is the time to hear from you guys. Michelle, how are you? I didn't realize you were here.
Hello.
Hello. So we are here to talk about security. Tell me some stories about security. Tell me some stories about failures. I'd love to let you know about my updates in SQL servers without a where clause. Somehow, all of a sudden, everybody's orders are exactly the same when I did that. What other security things did you know about?
Oh, are you asking me?
Anybody, everybody. Yes.
Oh, okay.
You specifically.
I feel bad because I came in I was driving home, so I didn't catch the beginning of it.
You caught the best part, which is when we talk. Go for it.
Okay. So we had a conversation the other day, Damien, about validation and securing data and data types on the client side. And I have a very strong rule of thumb that anything that gets validated on the client should be first and foremost validated on the server or even in the database. So that's my security suggestion.
Perfect. Fascinating. So, and you were talking about both validation as in checking that there's something unusual or bad, like for example, that you're inserting a blank username, but also a security concern that you should validate in both situations, that they're not doing something they're not supposed to. Something simple like blank should definitely be checked, both in the server and the client, but something more sophisticated, more nefarious should also be checked, especially on the server. So you're right. I brought it up. Go for it.
Michelle, how about the app that we just inherited where they were they were doing login using and sending the password in plain text to the API?
Plain text. I thought about it, but I was like, I don't know if I want to
bring it up,
call out that. But yeah, we saw some credentials in plain text in the console, which was wild.
Now, excellent point. And one of the things is an understanding, communicating back and forth. I even had people tell me, oh, be careful when you send it's okay to send something in the form to an HTTPS website. It's not okay to do it on the query strings. Did you guys know that's actually the same thing? The communication between the client and the server is the same, whether it's form or query string at the very end. So if they were sending back and forth the plain text password, that's awful. That's awful. But if it was an HTTPS endpoint, it should have been okay. Was there an HTTPS endpoint?
I believe so. But still, it
is definitely but it's something that we should want to refactor, not so much. But by the way,
they didn't have HTTPS. They didn't have SSL certificates set up yet.
So no, everybody could see it.
Vercel, and they hadn't had their SSL certificates yet. So we moved everything. Of course, me. We moved everything over to Firebase hosting, where everything's super secure. Absolutely. So by default, everything's SSL. But yeah, it was bad. And we rebuilt. We actually, Michelle and I, looking at the code for this client, we ended up just rebuilding everything from scratch. So
we had it wasn't a client, it was an internal app. They wanted, I promise Ojars, I would explain this. It was for the CEO, and I think I mentioned it earlier, please stop me if I did. The CEO wanted to have some basic information, but CEOs don't want specific. They usually want aggregate information, total number of sales, total number of dollars, total number of money in his bank account. And so what they did, and I stopped as a release manager, was that they wanted to push it was going to be an app, a phone app, and the phone app was going to call in to an API endpoint, and its sole purpose was to give the MongoDB Atlas login. So all of a sudden, the client had a way to log into the main database, and if you don't know this already, I can grab your phone, And if it has a password, plug it into my laptop. And even if you're talking from this phone, you can't even see it, right? Let's do this, pretend as you can see this better. This phone, well, it didn't even help. This phone, it's an old one, trust me. To the server, this is an SSL and that's an SSL. I can monitor what's going on if it's plugged into my laptop. Because there's a certificate I can install on this phone. So you should never pass anything that you cannot, that isn't known somewhere in between, right? And this was horrific. And, I mean, they were not passing you guys the password. They were passing the connection string with everything that would allow me in the middle, if I happen to be able to connect it or pull it out of the phone, connect it straight to the database without any API endpoint.
Why would you ever pass a connection string to a client?
Because they didn't know how to do an API endpoint. They didn't know how to do client, server, database on the other end, a little safe thing. Now, you can still screw up, right? I mean, you can still pass information that is easily through to the database, insert the SQL injections, things like that.
Hey, Damien, I got a good one.
Tell me.
Your security on your S3 buckets on AWS.
Famous.
We had an injection there at work a couple of months back, and they added some really nasty JavaScript on there that.
Wow.
It was
pretty sophisticated. So
actually it was, but they're asking for Bitcoin to get it back. To
amazing. Yeah,
that was crazy. So make sure you secure your buckets.
Yeah. And because Jonathan couldn't get any, that's when the price is going up too high and all that. So you got to buy it now, man. Too. Yeah.
Too late, bro. You can buy it now.
So that's amazing. There are always concerns about S3 buckets, and that's another whole topic, which is cloud security. I thought I was going to bring it up. So, what do you guys to give? Speaking of DB, Bobby Tails.
Surely you've heard of Little Bobby Tables, David. You might want to.
Oh yes. I love it. So it is fantastic. I don't know if you guys want to go ahead. Oops, I guess I'm now showing it to everybody live. But let me see. Whoop. It is wonderful. So there is the. Am I showing to everybody live? No, I'm not showing to everybody live. On the video, you'll see it. I show it to everybody live. So yes, the dropping the hello, my name is semicolon drop table. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you for that.
I just posted the explanation. If anybody doesn't understand exactly how it works, this kind of drills down into the nitty gritty of the command and breaks it down, the syntax.
Nice. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Or you can look at my sticker. So that's how you do it. That's how I learned my hackathons. Can you guys see it? Can you see it? So it is amazing what you can do, what people don't suggest. So I had another story. So about 20 years ago, we were I was working for the #1 eBay seller, which was a big deal back then in the world. And what we did is we had this wonderful idea, let everybody here instantly come in, you give us a bunch of money. It was this way, you pay us a bunch of money. We instantly give you a store. This was a big deal. This wasn't I could just put up web. So this was a big deal. Instantly you have a store, and instantly you can literally go, this product, which were our product, we were drop shippers, would go live on the internet. The idea was revolutionary. 20 years ago, there was no such thing as e-commerce software. Walmart didn't have anything online. Amazon was brand new, and nobody else had anything online. So we built this. I built this with the rest of the team. And one of the developers realized that they could, and then this would list a bunch of their stuff on eBay. And then if it sold, they would get a small cut. So if the thing costs $10, you sell for $12, you get the $2, and we get the $10 that we wanted for our product. So the company was great and did great. And this guy figured out that he could, with a little bit of automation, log in and find everybody else selling this particular product, and then contact all their bidders people that are bidding for that, and contact each one of them and say, hey, I'm selling it for this amount here in his listing. And it was so revolutionary. First of all, he was making like $5,000, a week or something like that at the time from this system. And he was by far the #1 user of ours. And we were happy. We were surprised what's going on in there. But we later on found out, because again, eBay, we were #1 seller. So when they released our API, we were shipped, flown in there. We found out that they literally changed that policy. And if you now go to any auction and click on the bidders, you will see like, AB****.com. And it's because of this guy. Because he literally he figured out how to game the system. And I mean, he should have, little SQL updates. All of a sudden, he didn't have $500 in our system. He had $50,000. We would have been happy. He would have been selling like crazy, and eBay would have, had only one seller, us. So it is amazing what people come up with. I'm always impressed what people come up with, how to get around certain things. We will think of everything, and to Michelle's great point, we will think of everything and put it in the client and never think that that's enough. Because a lot of times we sit on the client, especially with this SPA, and PWA ideas, that we have a lot of our code now sitting on the client, and we forget that the server is wide open, right? You don't leave the kid in the Publix and come back later because you'll be fine. You make sure to watch out for that and all that. And so that's what you should think about the server with that. So
I have a pretty recent story. One of our family friends, they have a business and they're pretty cheap when it comes to like technology. So they wanted like the cheapest version of the website, the cheapest version of like the program, like backend program. And like last week, for New Year's, they found out that they had like $50,000 missing.
Oh my God.
And looking like over $50,000 missing, and looking like with the records and all that stuff, it was because they got hacked.
Oh my God.
Since they didn't like do a lot of follow-ups to nothing, and they went with the cheapest version, they I guess whoever did because
it was a pirated version or something. That's wow. Holy smokes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it ended up being more expensive to them than actually going with the good version up front.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's a lot of websites out there that attack, especially, we talked with Ojars a little while initially about, like upgrading old websites, when you have an existing website and it's working well, similar to that story, Ernesto, you want to keep it, and then all of a sudden, especially if things like WordPress or a very known environment sits there, people find these exploits. Or like Ernesto's example, maybe they install a plugin and it starts, siphoning off a little bit of that, and that's unbelievable. That is just
There's also like cool databases that have just exploits that you can pretty much just grab and run scripts and.
Yeah, if you run anything on WooCommerce, for example, they do release. When they release patches, there usually is a tool that comes out with it so that you can actually do the penetration testing to the website. So that tool is available for everybody and anybody. So if you don't upgrade your WooCommerce patches, that means that tool is out there for anybody that can exploit that previously.
Oh my God! Yes, I see what you mean.
Very easy to find.
Oh my God. That's unbelievable. That's right. You're right. That's the problem. Not that there's a bug. Is that everybody has access to these tools. There was
another thing I wanted to touch on, Damien, real quick is you showed the example of the guy that committed a new set of files to his GitHub.
Yes. Yes.
I want to point out that also just updating your git ignore and having files removed, that'll also keep that stuff all in the history. I had to do a force push and scrub my whole Git history on a project at work. recently.
Exactly.
I know Michelle gave me a good thumbs up there when I said I was pushing to production, because I was scared, shitless to break the project, but it worked out all right. But yeah, make sure to remove all those credentials from the Git history if you have to.
Absolutely, that's a very important thing to be aware of. It's unbelievable how it is out there. That's crazy. That's crazy. And Michelle will always remind us, be ethical. But that doesn't mean everybody else is ethical, and quite the opposite. So make sure not to ask Michelle how to hack into your system. She doesn't know. It's too ethical. Make sure to ask people like me and Todd. We'll tell you how. Like we won't do it. But the data information comes out there. By the way, it is right. Michelle, please. One of these days, Michelle's going to do a talk, hopefully on my group or our group. Pardon me, please excuse me. I know. Look, what was amazing is I saw both Jeremy and Gene just go like, "Oh my god."
My group.
Yes,
it's my
that's
group.
Why. See, that's
this is our group now.
Yes, I like that.
It's everybody's group.
Everybody.
Group hug. No, okay. All right. Other people did it with me. Yay!
Yes. What is it? We have to do. Hold on a second. Let me take off my filter.
Jeremy, how cold is it there?
It's freezing. It looks like. Oh my God! He's so cold. He just disappeared.
Does that answer it? That's my backyard.
Is that really is that live?
Yeah. No.
It's not live, but yeah, it's my backyard.
Okay. Nice.
That's what we got to figure out how to do.
Video a couple days ago.
Me and Todd are gonna build a Zoom that requires I can put mixed video, live video. You know what I mean? That's our trick. That's gonna be the way to do it. Is it time for a winner? Do we want to do some giveaways?
I went to the site and it just took me to BocaJS.
Which one? If you went to,
I went to winfloridajs.com and it forwarded me to BocaJS.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I didn't test that. That's what I should be testing. Oh my gosh. All right. Does this work? How does that not work? How does that work?
No, that was on purpose. It's his, group. Quote.
Yeah, right.
Gosh.
It's his group, right?
It just made
everybody think of a number between 1 and 100.
Actually, and I checked everything else. I checked that Meet works and things like that. So let's see. All right. Oh, it's not. Nothing's. What's going on here? One. All right, you guys have seen the back end here. Hold on a second. I'm gonna cheat and hide this for a second. Hold on a second. I can't get started.
There's
oh my God, I'm stuck.
Unethical right there.
Unethical right here.
He's cheating.
In the meantime, while Damien's figuring this out, I put a form, Google form out on the chat. I only got 6 responses. There are 27 people here.
There was 31 when you put it. When you posted,
it was 31 when I was there. So we need your help to make this the best meetup there is, because this is for you guys. So any information, any feedback would be very helpful for us.
Well, and that gives me enough time to debug it live. Should I debug it live? No, I don't think so. What is going on here? Whoops. You guys can't see that, right? Good.
Damien's API keys are on YouTube now.
I know. How silly! Well, that's what you should not do. That's
how to secure your web app. And he's like live on YouTube. API keys and passwords.
Just for instructional purposes.
Great talk, Damien. Yeah, good job.
Nice. Exactly what happened. My certificates and everything. So imposter syndrome. All right, it looks like we're not going to be able to do it. Now, Christina will have a presentation that will be a lot better. In fact, most likely copying exactly what's going on in here. Right, Christina? It was the same thing you were going to say, right? But it's going to be in Spanish. Christina is not there.
Everything I do is to copy you, Damien.
I appreciate that. Even though you started the group
You're my
before
hero.
me or Jeremy or Gene, I believe. So.
No, I'll be talking more about like front end stuff. I will touch on like the CSP and things like that.
Wonderful.
But,
don't listen to
Christina.
It's all about the back end. Don't listen. It's over here when you recount. All right. So I don't have for some reason the system's not working. I wonder if I can go somewhere else.
Free licenses for everybody. Yeah.
Yay! Okay. Yeah. Send me a SAP story in chat as to why you should get the license, and maybe I'll send you the license and all that. So, or let's. How can we do the classic? Thank you. How can we do this? There is no way to give. Oh, random number. Okay, everybody think of a number.
That's what
Okay,
I said.
was
Everybody
it
think of a
was
number between 1 and 100.
yeah. Ready? Was it 1? Was it 5? So, tell me when it's your number. Does that make sense? Is that see? That's not back-end security. That's the
Whatever
problem.
you call out is my number.
Yes, it was 1. No,
It was 1 and 5.
So let's see, raffle. Oh my God, is my old website still up there? Wait, raffle. All right.
All right, I got a way of doing this.
Tell me, show me.
We've got a talk coming up at the end of the month. But like I mentioned before, we have a talk on the first Tuesday of every month and the last Tuesday of every month. So we're in need of February speakers. Any volunteers for that ticket?
Wow.
Not all at once.
Wait. So if you volunteer to speak, then you get a license?
Yeah.
How about this
Oh.
for the license? Whoever fills out Jeremy's form, of the people who submitted it, Jeremy will pick a random winner, and that person
Nice.
Or
I made it
Jeremy-
anonymous, so I don't know who's filling it out.
Jeremy, I put my name on mine.
Oh,
Okay.
that's smart. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, someone pointed out. I asked if if you're interested in speaking, but I never put in a way to contact you, so I have no idea. Like,
I
got
did
whole
that a
bunch
couple of
yeses,
times that
but
we
no idea who
sent.
that is.
Yeah.
So real quick, Elliot's one of my classmates, and he put a question in the chat. If we wanted to better understand what everything is about, like in this presentation, where should we start?
So, great question. How to look at every single thing I did? Yeah, youtube.com/FloridaJS, where you can see this presentation again. But you mean like where's a good resource for other things other than what we talked about today?
Yeah, like where do we start, like to get a good fundamental understanding of, the security aspects of, our coding?
Great question. What I would say to start is to understand the very basics. And this I've actually come across with people that didn't understand the difference between a server and code running on that server and a client and code running on the client, because now the client runs code a lot more than it did before. So the fundamental is to understand that the server lives by itself somewhere else and that the client is completely separate from it. So what you think is happening to the client isn't necessarily what's going to happen on the server. And that what you believe what you've programmed the front end to do isn't necessarily what the server is going to receive. So that fundamental, and I don't know if I'm wording it right, maybe Todd can help, or Jeremy or anybody else can help me with this, but it's that separation that you should be aware of.
Yeah, and Brad, you said you're only 3.5 weeks into your boot camp at Thinkful. I'm not really familiar with Thinkful's software engineering track, but I'm assuming that they're going to be covering this in some depth, at some point in the curriculum. So I would hope so, and that would give you the fundamentals, and then from there, just researching, learning, like Anthony just put a link in, and we put a couple of links in the chat on some things you can look into. But yeah,
Okay, cool.
A lot of this stuff too is just really using common sense in a lot of ways. And sometimes when we're first starting out in development, so I don't want to diss junior developers and say you don't have common sense. I don't mean that at all. But when you first start out, you get really excited, like, oh, this works, right? I got my front end and my API to talk, and they're sending data. Wow, I'm and you feel like a rock star. But once you get past that, once you get over that, like, woohoo, I did it, you have to start really using common sense and thinking about like, well, am I sending any information between the, you know, the client and the server that needs to be secure? And am I properly securing it? So just, you know, I think really part of it is just asking yourself that every step of the way, and don't be afraid to, you know, usually your first job, you're going to be on a team where you're going to have people that are more senior than you. So questioning them, hey, how can I make this more secure? Hey, is my code secure? Is doing this secure? And, you know, Damien pointed out that, you know, the code that you're running on the server, the client can't see that. And the code running on the client, like, you know, your React code, let's say that's running on in the browser, they can see all of that code. They have full access to that code. And then also anything you transfer between the two. So those are, you know, anything you're putting on the client and anything you're transferring between the client and the server, that's really where you need to make sure you're being secure.
Yeah, I'm actually getting ready to do a mock interview on web requests and promises and asynchronous programming. So
Nice.
I think this is kind of similar, if I'm not mistaken, but
Yep.
I think what you guys are talking about is much more in depth.
Absolutely.
I think to add on to what Todd said, one thing that helped me out understand a lot is at some point I learned that a big difference between authorization and authentication. One of the cool things that Todd always talks about is like Firebase is super robust as far as security, because when you make that API call, let's say, you know, a perfect use case is like an admin panel, right? Like, or a user's account area where you have to log in to see it. If you send out all of the information for that user's account, you may hide it under some JavaScript code that says, oh, if the user is not, you know, the name is not Enrique, don't show this page to them. However, if they just go into the code and change that name manually, they would be able, that would be immediately exposed because you've already sent the information. The difference there would be when you secure the application properly, you would make sure that the server only sends that payload if the server itself knows that the user is the right user. And that's, you know, so that's where
left, not behind
authentication and authorization, you know, basically unauthorized user or unauthenticated user doesn't mean he is an authorized user to see the stuff. So
yeah, Enrique, in that, you know, talking about funny stories and like security issues, we you know, we were working on a client app a few weeks ago where it was doing the authentication in the front end, and then it was just sending to the back end a Boolean, true or false, saying that it was authorized. Right. So you know, I was doing all this authentication, and then the front end was literally just sending like authenticated equals true to the back end. And then the back end was like, okay, here's all the data. And so, you know, those are things, you know,
That's
those are
nuts.
really, you know,
that is nuts.
So Brad, to conclude the thought, like any user on your browser, think of them as like authenticated user. It could be just the browser. Oh, I've authenticated you as browser 1234, you know, and basically your website's like, oh, I can send data to any user that's here, right? But doesn't mean that user browser 1234 is authorized to see a given amount of data. So your server needs to always worry about authorization, and in your browser you can worry about, you know, like authentication, just logging a user in or figuring out who is who, but the server has to really authorize that user to access the data.
Totally makes sense. Thank you so much.
Excellent. I love the discussion, guys. Thank you so much for this. Definitely keep it going. But also, we have it working. We have the winning. So let's choose someone. So another reminder of what you said is don't trust that the user is going to do what you programmed the user to do, the client. So that's what you have to just think about. Okay. Can you guys all join me at win.floridajs.com? and there's going to be a lot of tickets that come in there. I've made, as you've talked before, some mistakes in the past that have allowed people to not do what they're supposed to. I wouldn't call them security improvements, but I have improved certain things. Christina, Ernie, these are this winning raffle ticket system is also available for both your websites.
I don't see my ticket number in there.
Is your ticket number 1?
Yes, it is.
Okay, we will have it there, and it's just that I did it after you did it. I think
I told you it was 1.
it was
I was in
impressive.
line.
Unbelievable. How did I guess that? Does everybody have their tickets in there? I see a 20th coming in there, but I'm thinking it's time to pick a winner. So if you guys can look at your phone or your laptop or wherever it is you opened it, hopefully not in 15 places, thank you. Then all of a sudden some magic will happen. Mine's 17, I like that, thank you. Not close enough. Is it Enrique that one more time? Ouch. Almost there. Almost
I had 16.
You had 16? Okay, so let me actually see, because I always have to do this, and let's see, because maybe I can give away more than one. Let's see if we get the okay from people, but how are people excited about this? Who's number 18? Do we have a number 18?
I am, actually.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and give you, I want you to do me a
awesome.
favor.
I'm happy that you won, Brad, because I would pick you as our number 1 participant today.
Nice.
Oh, thank you.
Nice. Let's see. Okay, so Brad, do me a favor. Can you email me at Damien@FloridaJS.com?
Damien@FloridaJS.com.
Any which way you want to spell it. Yeah.
By the way, he sells your emails to pay for the license.
That's true. That's exactly what's going on here. That's how it works. And now you've given it away, Enrique. So now the 5 different licenses I send you will get none.
It's a good business model.
Yes, it's the only way we can do things around here. Actually, we used to have, and we will have in the future, pizza from sponsors and swag and things like that. But unfortunately, it looks like each time that that we call them now they're a little bit too busy for me and all that. So now that one of our main sponsors got me a new position, let's see how much they want to sponsor us then. All right, so bear with me here. I'm desperately trying to log in another screen that you guys can't see.
Well, you guys know you can always call on Boca Code for sponsorship.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, Boca Code stickers next in-person meeting, Todd.
The best thing is to, if you have a chance, go into the library, I believe it's called. Is that the wing that we're talking about, the library?
Yeah, the library at Boca Code.
They have the best stickers here.
Yeah.
I love
it. I actually got a special package in the mail a while ago. Thank you, Todd.
What?
You're welcome.
Damn.
Yeah, if you email me your address, I'll send you stickers.
Okay. Perfect. And if I can figure out how to...
Enrique took me up on that.
I love it. All right, so let me see. Oh, come on.
And maybe I'll include a love letter next time.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, you still have my address.
I actually don't think I kept it. I think I just wrote it on the envelope, to be honest.
Man.
Okay.
Bad businessman. I didn't keep your address. I'm not like sending you mailers or something.
All right. We'll have to do this another time.
You about your car's extended warranty?
Oh, yeah. Is that right?
That's what Todd's doing. He's sending all that stuff to get to your car's extended warranty.
Those phone calls are for me that you get.
Those stickers.
That's what you can get.
You just call everyone.
Would you guys like a presentation about Twilio? I believe
we
Todd.
talked about doing that, right?
Yeah. That's why I'm asking. So,
yeah,
I swear to you, I have a lot of licenses, and I cannot find out how to log in to get my licenses. What?
Damien, I could do that in February if you want.
Sounds good. We can do that. But okay, just a reminder for everybody: we have that fantastic speaker, Adam. Oh, look at that! I didn't even update my. That needs to be updated. Let me hide that quickly. There we go.
Yeah, you
Okay.
just changed Boca to Florida, and you got it.
You got it.
Got the logo.
Exactly. No, we have a special logo and things like that. We have wonderful stuff. So check out youtube.com/Florida. FloridaJS. And Twitch, if you're interested, or be one of the 2 subscribers. We have a lot of subscribers on here, but not too school. And we're live there right now. And FloridaJS.com. And we will see you with Adam, the Dan, the creator of the Create React app.
Who are you talking about?
I don't know, someone. Well, and we'll see Gene next time presenting, and enough of me talking, things like that. So thank you all for coming. I don't have anything else to share with you. I will desperately try to look to see if I have more licenses. At the end of the month, you'll be the best presentation ever, and I will have lots of licenses for everybody. The person that won, contact me through the chat. Did you chat? Who won, by the way?
I did. I sent you an email.
Okay, perfect. And then I will go ahead and reply with a license. And if not, send it again. Guys, thank you very much. Guys, ladies, I'm an old man, so that's how I talk. But peoples, thank you so much. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. See you next time.
Yeah, it was super nice meeting everybody.
Thanks,
I look forward to seeing you guys next time.
Sounds fantastic.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Thanks, Damien. Good talk.
Thank you. Thank you, Christine. I'll see you on the next one.
Sure.
Yep.
Bye-bye.